trust. It can be easy to build and it can be even easier to break. This week on the Practicing Leader podcast, we'll be talking about steps you can take to try to build trust and steps you can take to be able to show up as your best self. I'm your host, Parul Bhargava, and let's discuss. Many years ago, when I went to go buy a car, I was already looking for one. There was no question I was going to buy one. I was driving a lot, so I needed a new vehicle because the one I was driving just wasn't working. So when I was test driving some different cars, and was definitely keen on buying one. It was when I'm like, this is it. I think this is the car I need. And I was meeting with a salesperson, and they struck up a conversation with me, and it became clear that I was interested. And in just one quick moment, the salesperson went from somebody that I had started building a rapport with to immediately it was a salesperson. It was pretty clear that they were looking to sell me something, not necessarily help me buy something. Based on that experience, it was pretty clear that just the smallest misstep of, hey, trust me, I've got your back, and saying it in that salesy voice immediately shattered any sort of rapport we had built throughout the test drive or throughout the conversation we've been having for the 30, 45 minutes prior. And it just pointed out to me how important it is to be able to nurture the relationships that you build. Trust boils down to behaviors and how we convey ourselves on a day-to-day basis. It's a baseline required for good relationships, no matter the context. You can look at whether or not it's with your lead, with a peer, with another leader. These are always things that are going to align to how do you build trust in the long term. Trust is what allows people to have high context conversations, and after hearing a request, to be able to say, I understand, let me help you out. Trust is also what causes you to be able to describe a story, a narrative, go into deep detail, and afterwards, the individual is like, something doesn't sound quite right. Can we talk about this some more? Can we delve into that a little bit more? And they dig into it deeper. If you look at trust as a gradient, those two examples show you two ends of the spectrum in order to be able to understand what happens when you have a high trust relationship versus a low trust relationship. So, how do you build trust with others? How do you figure out how do I build a better relationship with somebody? Let's talk through some of the steps together. The first thing you want to be able to show is that you're reliable. If you consistently follow through on what you've committed to somebody, it's going to show up and they will ask you less questions. They will simply know that you will get things done. There is no question about it. Hey, I assigned something to so and so, and you know what? I always have to check back on them and see what's going on. This is where trust actually shows up. This is where you need to be able to say what you're going to do and then follow through and do it. The next thing, be honest. It is crucial for you to have transparency and honesty in all of your communications when you're talking to somebody. The moment you try to say something that is shades of not the truth, you're going to run into problems. The next one, show empathy. If you're able to actively listen to others, pay attention to what they're saying, listen to their perspectives, and be able to show them that you are listening to them and showing empathy towards their position, this is what enables you to be able to build stronger relationships and build trust with others. The next one is discretion. If somebody shares information with you, you cannot share it with others. This is an important component because the moment you breach a confidence, there's no way to bring that back. Not impossible. It is possible to rebuild that trust, but boy, is that tough. Next one, demonstrate competence. Whichever field you're in, be able to show that you're an expert in that field. This also goes to the counter of that. When you don't know something, be sure that you admit that you don't know something. Pretending to know something, that just goes back to the previous comment about honesty. Next, be consistent. Being able to show that you're honest, transparent, show empathy, maintain discretion, and are reliable, and do it consistently is going to establish and maintain trust over time. And the last one, know when to apologize. You will make mistakes, you will make errors. Do whatever you can to be able to make amends for when you do make a mistake and be able to admit that you've done so. Not those fake apologies, a real apology. Not that I'm sorry you felt that way, but I'm sorry I took that action and this is the behavior I exhibited and I apologize and here's what I'm going to do to try to make it better. Don't do the fake stuff. The fake stuff is useless. Building trust within organizations or within a team or with people that you work with takes time. You need to be able to show a regular track record of good behavior. And if you do that, you then can build and maintain trust with those individuals over time. Building trust is a gradual and ongoing process. It requires care and feeding. It requires consistent effort on your part and a genuine want to build a positive relationship with another individual. If you take these steps and work at them and work to build positive relationships with your peers or your manager or your lead or with your team, you have an opportunity to try to build strong and trustworthy relationships that can grow over time. This has been the Practicing Leader Podcast. I'm your host, Parul Bhargava, and I'll see you next week.